Hi, this is Frida Liu. Today on The Shift Asia, we're joined by Ludvig Hermansson from Business Sweden, the official Swedish Trade Invest Council, an organization that bridges Sweden and the world through trade, investment, and innovation partnerships. Sweden is globally recognized for its strength in sustainability, innovation, digital transformation, and progressive leadership models. And as Asia continues to rise as a powerful economic and innovation hub, the collaboration between Nordic values and Asian dynamism becomes increasingly relevant. Nice to see you again, Ludvig.
Thank you for having me.
And to be talking about the work right now. Sweden has embedded sustainability into its national identity. You think about it. How much of that is policy driven versus culturally driven?
Yes, I think it's a little bit of both, Frida. It's of course the policy is important. I mean, we have, I think it was in the beginning of the 90s, the first, earliest when it comes to carbon taxes.
Yeah. In the 90s?
Yeah,
okay.
In the 90s, yeah.
Right.
And also we have a strong, recycling regulations and so on and so forth. And as well as most countries, we have a goal, when it comes to become net zero emissions. So that is for Sweden 2045.
Right.
So of course that is, driving it. But I think it's also a lot about culture driven. And I think in Sweden we're a bit modest, I would say. We have a word even called lagom.
Okay.
So that means basically not too much,
right?
Not too little.
Okay. Okay. so moderation.
Yeah, moderation.
Okay.
Yeah. And also we grown up with something called allemansrätten.
Okay.
I don't know if there's an English word for that, but that basically means that all the nature in Sweden, we love our nature, just like Malaysians you do as well, right? So you can walk around everywhere in the nature. You can put up your tent and so on. So even if someone owns these forests, sorry, or if you go somewhere else,
right,
you're allowed as a citizen to walk around there.
Okay.
So I remember, I was brought up in a small city close to the biggest lake in Sweden called Lake Vänern. So I remember, going out to these islands with my parents. Later on, when I was a teenager, I had the benefit, some of my friends had boats, so I can join them, and we put up a tent, and you had you prepare some food, grilling, and so on. So, and then of course you have to keep that. That is, a responsibility comes with that freedom as well, right? So you also have to clean all that up and leave it as when it was when you came there.
Right. Okay.
So that is, I think, also a way of cultural, and then you bring it back home, and then you have the the sorting of your own waste, for example. So, you come home and you put it where, in my apartment, you have it, one bin for food trash, you have one bin for other things. You have this is where you go with your papers, newspapers, others, letters, cans somewhere else.
Okay.
And that is just how you've been brought up.
Okay.
I think almost as long as I remember, and I'm almost 50 soon.
Oh, okay. Right.
So, and then of course when you move to Malaysia, I've been living now outside Sweden for 18 years in different countries. But when you come to each place, what do you do with your waste? And usually put the same in,
Okay.
all the waste goes into the same kind of trash can.
Thanks for sharing that story. It's so interesting, right? Having seen all this growing up and a bit of policies that happened in the 90s to how you lived your life, right? What does sustainability really mean then for Swedish companies today? Is it compliance? Is it competitiveness? Or just conviction to do this?
Yeah, I think sustainability today is all three, right? But maybe more the competitiveness, and also maybe conviction, I would say, for Swedish companies to this day. I think a lot of, of course, regulations, there are tough regulations from the EU, from Sweden, that everyone needs to follow. But at the same time, I think a lot of Swedish companies like, IKEA, Volvo, Scania, and so on, they see, they view sustainability as, the drive of, they can use that to drive innovation, cut costs, and also it's about, branding as well. So, yeah, I think definitely it's more competitiveness and maybe also conviction from the Swedish companies.
And I think when you use that example of IKEA as something that's very clear in a lot of our minds here in Malaysia, right? Now Sweden often talks about balancing growth and responsibility. Is that balance actually achievable at scale? And I guess if you look at the Swedish companies and what they're doing.
Yes, it is, and I think it requires, of course, long-term thinking and systematic change. But I think Sweden it's on paper. I mean, Sweden has been growing now for the last 50 years. At the same time, we have reduced our carbon emissions.
Right.
So it's very doable, right?
Yeah.
And Sweden is not alone. I mean, a lot of countries has been able to do that. And
usually in the Scandinavian countries.
Yeah. But even like your big neighbor, China, I mean, when you went there 20 years ago,
yes,
the air was terrible in the big cities, right? Now you can actually, walk around, breathe, and so on.
Right.
Thanks to all the solar panels, that cannot change, and EV cars and so on. So China has also been growing.
Right.
so there are a lot of examples that it's definitely possible. But of course, you need to have, of course, incentives from the government and so on, but you also need to have that we already talked about, cultural, the companies want to drive this, see the benefit from it. And we have a number of examples. Now, for example, we have a Swedish company called Stegra. I mean, in Sweden, we have a lot of iron ore. So we produce also, of course, steel.
Okay.
Steel, as we all know, demands a lot of electricity.
Yeah.
Quite difficult to make that like a clean business, right? But they have this goal of having, zero carbon emission kind of produced steel using renewable energies and hydrogen and so on and so forth, right? So I really hope this will materialize. It's a big investment now up north in Sweden. Right. We also have, I talked about earlier on, how we sort our own waste and so on. We use that, waste to energy or to, and we've actually been so good at it now. So we, not me, myself, but Sweden, we need more waste to actually import waste from our neighboring countries.
Okay.
To produce electricity and heat and so on.
So we can actually give you our waste.
Yeah, come, give it to us.
Now,
I think even from Italy, they had boats with.
Oh, wow. Okay, now Sweden is often seen as a pioneer in sustainability, right? How serious is the commitment from Swedish companies operating in Malaysia when it comes to ESG and climate goals? Because I know we have over 100 Swedish companies in Malaysia.
Correct. Yeah. No, it's very important for them, of course. Can you repeat the question again?
Okay, So Sweden is often seen as a pioneer in sustainability. How serious is the commitment from Swedish companies operating in Malaysia when it comes to ESG and climate goals? And we know we have over 100 Swedish companies here in Malaysia.
Yeah, that's correct. Yeah. And of course, it's very important for them. I mean, so the Swedish companies here, I mean, I said earlier, we have a goal in Sweden to become, by 2045, neutral in carbon emissions, right? But most companies have much tougher set, targets actually. Yes. And what they do in Malaysia would also be reported back to their home office in Sweden, right?
Okay.
So with that said, what's happening in Malaysia is of great importance. They try to become, better, more sustainable business. And the Swedish Embassy and Business Sweden, we try to gather the Swedish companies, not all 100, but many of the more larger ones, right? And discuss, what's really important for you in Malaysia.
Right.
And sustainability was number one. How do we drive sustainability, that message? They use it as a competitive advantage. And hence we started something called Pioneer the Possible.
Yeah.
To drive that, so together with MGTC, we signed an MOU, and to look into sustainable mobility or manufacturing, and it could also be water treatment. We have different areas where we try to push our message and collaborate with Malaysian stakeholders.
Right.
But also we have examples, more concrete examples like Evercare Medical. They don't have a factory, but they have a partner. Right. So they even target, what are our partners doing? So they are helping the Malaysian partner to reduce their carbon emissions.
Right.
And we have same with another company that, try to become, Mölnlycke it's called, manufacturing plastic gloves.
Right.
So they have this goal set now in Malaysia to be neutral carbon free by 2030.
Okay.
So changing. A problem then, of course, with some companies that the electricity in the net is from coal or other.
Right.
So then they have to fix that. So they are trying then to create like a biomass power plant, small one.
And that's good, right? As you're saying that the Swedish companies that operate here, whatever they do here also gets reported back into the headquarters. So that is in itself means that you are working towards a sustainability goal. Apart from energy sources, what are some of the other gaps that you see?
I think, we all see this as a competitive advantage, both Malaysians and Swedes, but I think we're aligned there. Of course, there are some, it's not attitude, I think that is the same, but more structural gaps that might be, regarding standards and so on. And also, someone, of course, treats it more as a compliance requirement rather than, a core business strategy.
Right.
But there are a few examples. For example, IKEA, who invested quite a lot, to have their logistics center in Klang. It's a huge investment for the whole region. And then they set up all these solar panels on the roof and everywhere and so on. And that suddenly they actually generate more electricity that they can use.
Right.
So then, of course, they would like to, get it back into the net, but that is not possible. Right. Or I just mentioned another company that, tried to set up a small biomass plant for a factory. That also could be sometimes challenging to just get approvals and all that. So, yeah.
Okay.
What are we trying to support there?
Right, trying to support where we can, right?
Yeah.
And where are you seeing the most serious collaboration between Sweden and Malaysia? You mentioned a couple of things, energy transition, electrification, circular economy. Are these some of the things, are there more things that you see where we're collaborating?
Yeah, quite many, I would say. For example, we look into, you have a lot of palm oil, palm plantations. Sweden, we have a lot of forests for pulp and paper. We have a lot of collaborations, also like research, how to work in this field more sustainable. I mentioned waste to energy and so on. We have a governmental entity called SWED Fund that provides grants for feasibility studies and so on. So now we're looking into how we can work with waste to energy, but also biomass to energy to get use of that here in Malaysia. Energy efficiency. Together with MGTC, we are driving the energy efficiency agenda together with Swedish companies like Atlas Copco, Axis, Assa Abloy, and Alfa Laval, and so on. Also, I think it's very interesting. It's the ASEAN Power Grid. It's not Malaysian, but I'm very happy that during your chairmanship
last year,
really pushed for the ASEAN Power Grid. I think it's, all the companies in the region try to change the power mix to become more sustainable, and you need them to be connected to be able to trade with each other.
Right.
Because the sun might shine in one country and the next days in the other country. So it makes it easier, yeah? And that is something we've done a lot in the Nordics with HVDC and cables and so on. So, so when it's windy in Denmark, we can get electricity from them, and then the next day it might be windy in Sweden, and they will.
I see.
So I think that is where we would love to work together as well.
Right. I think that's an excellent example. Now, Sweden is strong in circular economy models. What's one circular innovation from Sweden that Malaysia should be paying closer attention to?
Yeah, I think I would choose then the deposit return system for packaging. We call it pant in Sweden. But
I'm learning a lot of Swedish words. Thank you.
You told me you were supposed to go there soon.
Yes.
So basically it means that if you're a supermarket, you're selling sodas, for example, and say that it costs 10 ringgit. Then they sell it for 11. And then, after I drank it, I can then go back to any supermarket that sells sodas.
Right.
And they will take it back for recycling.
Right.
And I will get that 1 ringgit back.
Okay.
So I remember, when I was a kid, there was some friends were bicycling around in our little city, collecting cans. Yeah.
Okay.
and went to the supermarket. You got the cash. Sometimes you can get like 100 crowns. It was a lot. Wow. And I see that already. Also today, I go home to my parents in Sweden. So my sister's little kids, like 4 or 5 years, super happy when he gets the bottles and the cans from my father. Then he walks to the supermarket and can put it into the machine, get the receipt, and then go in and buy his Saturday candy.
It's such a simple thing. I'm just wondering why it's not something that's more adopted here, but it's such a simple thing. Maybe we've become too complacent, right? And how are Swedish firms now financing green projects in Malaysia or Asia? And are blended finance models becoming more important?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, a lot of the large companies are often using their own balance sheets or maybe green bonds and so on, but they also use a lot of the Swedish financing system, which is consisting of S10E10, the Swedish Export Credit, I have to read now. Swedish Export Credit Corporation provides long-term financing for sustainable projects. We also have EKN, the Swedish Export Credit Agency. They have reduced risk by offering guarantees. They basically secure the project. So everybody gets paid basically if the project owner can't. And then since they are governmental organizations, a AAA, then very low interest rates for these projects as well. When looking at blended finance, I think Sweden could be better at that. So maybe you're asking the wrong person, but I think one of the reasons for that is that we have a huge aid agency called SIDA. So 1% of our GDP always goes into SIDA.
I see.
For projects in the developed world, mostly sustainable kind of projects. But that's untied aid. So some of the Swedish companies, of course, are not that happy. Then you have these sometimes blended finance projects from your neighbors in the region, Japan or China, or even European neighbors and so on. And then, of course, you have to have some of the products from that specific country that comes with the financing, right? In Swedish these kind of projects, that's not the case. Which is beautiful, I guess. But might not benefit the Swedish companies. But I think that might also change. But I think it's something that is growing and will be growing also when it comes to Sweden, how we finance projects.
And can you share an example of a successful Sweden-Asia partnership that demonstrates innovation with purpose?
Innovation with purpose. I mean, I'm also the country manager of Singapore, our Business Sweden office in Singapore. So I fly there quite often, but I live and stay here in KL. But there in Singapore, they, looking quite a lot how to change the power mix. They would like to import, for example, renewable energy from Sarawak, and also find ways to, to generate electricity. And one forward-thinking project I would say is to use green ammonia to generate electricity, and that has not been done today. So back in 2024, we had a Swedish king coming to Singapore with a huge delegation. And I had the privilege of attending and arrange it together with the team and the embassy and so on. And during that a few days, we signed a MOU between the Swedish Energy Agency and EMA, the regulator, to look into how we can develop ammonia generation. And now, I think it was in October last year, another MOU was signed between Siemens Energy and Keppel, how to develop this as well. And Siemens Energy might sound very German to you, but for me, it's Swedish because their gas turbines are produced. All the R&D and everything is in Sweden. It's the old ABB. Anyway.
Collaboration.
So when it comes to gas turbine, we view Siemens Energy as Swedish and support them, right? So now the Swedish Energy Agency also has, I think it's like 41 million or so. And I think the Singaporeans also add some. I don't have all the numbers, but basically look into research and development, how to then change these gas turbines to be able to use green ammonia instead to generate electricity.
Okay.
So I really hope that quite soon we will have green energy from these Swedish turbines, green ammonia turbines, producing electricity in Singapore.
All right. Okay. I think and that's something that I know energy is a big factor in Singapore as well. Now, as we navigate climate urgency, geopolitical tension, and technological disruption, what gives you confidence about the future of Sweden-Malaysia collaboration?
Yes. Yeah, it is an uncertain world at the moment, but and I think Sweden and Malaysia, I mean, we're we're quite small countries in this big world.
Yeah.
And we're both very export oriented, and we also need to import our products as well. So we are both for free trade and so on. So I think we're working together in that area. Now there are more and more, trade tariffs coming up.
Yeah.
I also think we have a lot of great relationships. All Swedes I know in Malaysia loves Malaysians.
Right.
Maybe, yeah.
It's the weather.
Or the food, I think, more even.
Okay.
Or the people, yeah.
Yeah.
So I see more and more collaborations between our countries. And there's a lot of Malaysians have been to Sweden at universities and so on.
Yeah.
So, and I'm very happy. I mean, that's what we are working with a lot to this relationship to grow stronger, and I'm also very happy that we have Maida in Sweden also. And we see just a few years ago, Petronas bought Perstorp, which is quite a big company in Sweden with sustainable chemicals to grow that business. So, my wife actually works for Petronas.
Oh, okay.
She's not Malaysian. She's not Swedish either, but my sister now works for Perstorp.
Okay.
So suddenly my sister and my wife are colleagues at Petronas.
Right.
Yeah, so that's quite funny. It's a small world.
Right.
It's almost like a family business now, Petronas.
Okay.
But I think we have a lot to learn from each other. And by learning, growing our collaboration, both countries will grow stronger. So I think that will continue.
Right. Yeah, and I think a lot of history between Sweden and Malaysia as well, and the fact that I think a lot of people are not aware, right, that the number of Swedish companies here in Malaysia, largely because they're B2B. Of course, we all know our IKEA. But thanks for sharing again, and it's interesting to see how I guess we can both learn from each other. So thanks again, Ludvig, for being here, and of course you've been watching The Shift Asia.